Hello, hello. Welcome to Dream Leap Live TV. Um, I have so many thoughts in my head. I have just so much that is swirling in my mind. But before we get into this content, let's please get into these earrings, okay? I'm a really big fan of supporting women of color. And so I want to shout out a couple of women of color brands that I'm rocking today. These earrings, let's get into them. These earrings were made by, at Blue Moon Aquarius. Go on ahead and check her out to get you some handmade clay earrings. They're beautiful. They're unique. I feel real special and official when I wear them because there are very few other things out there like them. Also, this glow that you are seeing here, well, I guess glow by God, but also glow by at Simone Rose, Black owned skincare. What else are we getting into? Lip gloss by Finger Comber. God, let's see, the glow that you see here, the shine that you're seeing is by Zen in a Jar. You know that's a fave. Also, we get into these beads. I'm wearing a beautiful bead stack. This hand candy and most of the skinny beads are by Beads by Woo. So check that out at Beads by Woo. I'm wearing the Dream Leap Live charm bracelet from Adia Ayo. So you can check them out. Who else I have on here? My shirt. Hold on. This shirt was painted by at Farley Creates. Thank you, boo. Thank you. I received that and I appreciate you for it. Thank you. So yeah, I just wanted to be random and shout out some women of color owned businesses, some women of color creatives that I will continue to support. They can continue to have my money because they make beautiful things that make my world and life better and easier. So there's that. Now, I titled this live, hashtag goals is keeping you stuck. Let me give a little bit of background and context. So a couple weeks ago, my sister friend and I were on the phone and we were talking about, I don't really remember how we got onto the topic, but we ended up talking about how I very rarely post photos of my husband or of my child. Not because I don't love my husband, not because I don't love my child, but because I feel fiercely protective of both of them. And also because I don't believe that anybody is entitled to intimate details of my life. I like to share what I want to share, and I don't share what I don't want to share. And I'm also pretty mindful of the fact that neither my husband nor my son asked for the platform. So I try to make sure that I'm just not splashing them on there all the time. Every once in a while I bless with a little bit, but I'm pretty cognizant of that. But I have noticed that the few times I put up pictures of myself with my immediate nuclear family, I get a lot of comments and messages about hashtag goals, hashtag relationship goals, hashtag family goals, which I can really appreciate, and I'm so honored that people think we look like what they want. But I want to talk a little bit about how that could become an issue. I have done a lot of work to create a marriage and a family that I can be proud of. That this shit was, it was not just by accident. This has been through intentionality and conscious creation and lots of work, right? So I appreciate that, and I welcome compliments, and I love that people are able to say beautiful, nice things. But I also know that it is very easy on something like Instagram for people to see one micro snippet moment of someone's life and create a whole story about what must be going on with that person. And I think that if we're not careful, we can project onto other people, meaning transfer our unwanted or unwelcome emotions onto someone else, and make that mean that we are failing in some way, or make that mean that we are lacking or inadequate. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. My sister friend and I were talking about how people will say things like hashtag goals, hashtag relationship goals, hashtag family goals, and they don't know anything other than the picture they saw. Now, the people that do know us can have their opinions, and that's fine. But people that don't know us have all types of assumptions and projections. And so I feel like the responsible thing is to make very clear that while Instagram and social media put us in a position where hero worship is the norm, I want us to break that down a little bit. So I talk a lot about carving out your own path and giving yourself permission to rewrite the rules of society so that you can make life work in a way that works for you. I feel like it's super important that we stop and think about what rules we've been living by and what rules would better serve us so that we can follow those rules instead of the things that work against what we want. And so one of the biggest deterrents to carving out your own path, one of the biggest deterrents to living a life that works for you, is the culture of hero worship that is so prevalent in social media these days. And by hero worship, I mean admiring someone and making them appear when you don't actually know what's going on in their real life. So I think hero worship, along with fear of missing out, along with shiny object syndrome, along with the fact that we live in a society that profits off of our self-doubt, all that shit together can make things feel even harder than they normally need to. So I think that when we think about hashtag goals, as someone that believes in the power of setting goals in the first place, I believe in the power of goal setting. I believe in the power of visualization. I believe in the power of finding a mentor that's created the results you want and then studying under them to model your life after what they've created. But I also believe we need to be very, very careful about who we make our mentors, who we make our models, and just about like how we decide what we want for ourselves. Because I think that this culture of hero worship oversimplifies people's experiences. It makes a lot of assumptions about what's going on. And it also makes it really hard to listen in and get clear on what you want for you versus what you think you should want because someone you admire already has it. So it makes you feel like you're failing at life. It may make you feel like there's no point in you even trying because this person must be a special snowflake that got it. And it's so tempting to create a story or a narrative about how this person's unique, so they got to have this, but you can't. Or worse yet, to make you silently resent or hate that person when you don't know how hard they worked to create that. I also think it's important to note that there is a very thin line between inspiration and intimidation. There is a very thin line between deciding that you want to work towards something similar to what someone you admire has versus you telling yourself that you have failed because you're not that person. So when we think about hashtag goals, I just want us to be more mindful of like, what about this person's life is your goals? Is this actually what you want, or is it what you think you should want because it's all that you see all day, every day? And if you're never getting any space from it, if you're never creating that stillness, then you don't get to cultivate your own idea of success. My goal is to help you rewrite the rules and redefine success on your terms. But if you are constantly bombarding yourself with images of other people, if you are constantly getting caught up in, well, let's talk about how social media works. If you're constantly getting caught up, we all know that there are certain brands that have really pretty packaging but very little substance. And we get so caught up with how pretty their images are and their perfectly curated feed that we're not paying attention to the fact that may be all they're offering. Whereas there are other people that don't take super great pictures, but you know that they have the meat and potatoes that you need, right? Sometimes I feel low because so many of my friends have bought homes, are making money, and I'm like, did I do something wrong? So that is such a good point, Sky. That is such a good point. There are benchmarks. Ooh, girl, yes. There are benchmarks that are put out. And we don't ever stop to think about who created these benchmarks. We just think like, oh, by this age, I should be married. By this age, I should have a child. By this age, I should have a house. By this age, I should have however many degrees. And we never stop to reassess. Like, at what point did that become important? Is it actually even important in the first place? Is it important to me? Or is it just important to this kind of person? Is this actually going to bring me fulfillment and joy or not? At what point do we stop to reassess? At what point do we determine that we get to decide what actually matters? And so when we say hashtag goals, it's so important to think like, goals for whom? Goals for whom? What other people aspire to, I have no interest in. And the things that matter to me are allowed to not matter to other people. I'm not here to teach you how to be another me. I'm teaching you how to be the best version of yourself. I'm not interested in becoming your guru, right? I'm interested in you remembering that you are the expert of your own experience, and you get to determine what matters to you and what you want for your life and what you're trying to create, right? But I think that when we have so much more free time than we're used to having, and we spend a lot of that free time in our phones or on our gadgets and on social media, shiny object syndrome is, it's everywhere. It's to be expected. And so we're seeing the flashing lights and getting the notifications and seeing people's feeds and making lots of assumptions about what we should be doing with our lives. But if you pay close attention, whenever you say should, I should be doing this, I should be further along, I should have this by now, that should always belong to somebody else. That should, that sense of obligation, that sense of I'm breaking a rule and doing things wrong, that belongs to somebody else. And so you owe it to yourself to make your intuition more solid and more important than your inner critic, which is something that I go into in depth in Purpose-Driven Powerhouse. Because let me break down why that shit matters to me. So I truly believe that the world will be saved by creatives. I genuinely believe that the world will be saved by creatives. But I know that creatives cannot do what they're here to do if they're feeling creatively blocked. And so if you want to get out of your head, you have to stop making yourself available for confusion and mind drama and mental clutter. And you have to practice shutting out the external noise. And you have to embrace stillness and listen in for what matters to you and what you're looking for and what you want for your life. This is a practice. It's a muscle that has to be exercised and flexed. This is something that you need to give space and time to every day of your life. And it's something that feels unnatural because from when we're very, very young, we're taught that everyone else's needs are more important and that everybody else knows more than we do. So we learn how to defer to other people's authority, and we learn how to give up any belief that we know what's best for us. But then that also makes it hard for us to trust ourselves, and it makes it hard for us to make empowered decisions. So that when we end up going on social media, we look to other people as influencers rather than knowing that we get to influence our own lives. But I feel like creatives cannot think clearly if they believe they're supposed to be anything other than what they are. So when we say hashtag goals, it's important that we think like, all right, hashtag goals for me versus hashtag goals for what we're seeing splashed all over the world that we're told needs to be our focus. I'm no longer available for other people telling me what I need to be valuing or what I need to be focusing on. I am laser focused because I listen to me first. And I give other people permission to think that that's selfish. I give other people permission not to like it, not to get it, because they're not going where I'm going and they don't have to like it. And they don't have to get it. And they don't have to agree with it, right? My job is not to be liked, it's to lead. But I can't lead anyone else until I lead myself. And I practice leading myself by honing my intuition. I think that intuition is a superpower. It is one of my superpowers. And I think that I have to use that. Well, it's a superpower and a tool. And I think that I have to sharpen that tool by doing whatever it takes to practice listening to me. Because in the world we live in right now, there are so many reasons that I could believe that I'm not worthy. And there are so many reasons that I could believe that I don't matter and that my life doesn't matter and that I'm not important, right? There are so many forces that could be working against me. But I truly believe in what I'm here to do in this life. I truly believe in who I need to be and how I need to show up. And that requires a willingness to shut out all of the other noise. All the external noise, all the pressure, all of that needs to go out because I need to make flow the norm. So I think that when creative minds are clear and when flow is the norm, life feels better for everyone. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the heart showers. I feel that when creative minds are clear and when flow becomes the norm, life feels better for everyone. So we cannot afford to have visionaries and change makers and movement builders stuck. We can't have them. We can't afford to have them doubting themselves because their shit doesn't look as good as the person whose post they just liked. So this is why I think that we got to think about this #goals situation. And I know that my job is to help aspiring change makers to get out of their own way and leave the mark that only they can leave on this world. So I want to make sure that people learn how to listen to themselves first. I want to make sure that people learn that it is safe to trust themselves, and that they have permission to make mistakes, and that they don't owe the world perfect. They owe the world solid and real and raw, right? So yeah, that's just something that has really been coming up for me. Purpose-Driven Powerhouse is my offering to people who are tired of getting in their own way, people who are tired of deferring to other people's authority, people who are tired of packing their vision boards but not actually taking any inspired action, because by the time they sit to do it, they have convinced themselves that they could never be like the people on their vision board. I built this training bundle specifically for that person, that visionary, that aspiring change maker, that aspiring entrepreneur, that creative mind that has beaten herself up for so long and is ready to try something different so she can create something bigger. That is who I built this training bundle for. And so if that is something that appeals to you, I invite you to enroll at the link in my bio, or you can go to dreamleaplive.com/courses. I believe in the power of goal setting, and I know that #goals is a very popular thing to say, and I don't mean to say that you can't say it. I'm just wondering how easy it is to say #goals and immediately jump from, ooh, this person inspired me, to, ooh, I'm so intimidated I might as well do nothing. We can't afford to keep making ourselves available for creative blocks and for chaos and for confusion. We have purpose work to do. The world needs us, and the world needs us clear and focused, not stuck and hoping for the best and waiting for a solution to fall from the sky. We create our own opportunities. We decide when we're ready. We create our own opportunities. We have to decide to succeed, which is why I have a whole 90-day program about that. We have to decide to succeed. We have to decide to have what we want no matter what. We have to decide to give other people permission not to get it. We have to decide to stay focused even when we'd rather give up. We have to decide to be consistent because success loves consistency, right? And then we have to decide to prepare for what we want by aligning our thoughts with our actions, with our energy, so that it matches the life we're going for and not the life that someone else told us that we should have. That is basically what has been moving around in my mind. I also know that while we are in this time, trying to navigate this shitstorm, trying to make sense of, we don't know when this pandemic is going to let up. We don't know when it's going to be completely safe to live our lives again outside. But we have so much more time to think. I don't want this time to be even harder for you than it needs to be. I know we like to complicate things because we feel like if we make it difficult and then we succeed, then we earned it. But we don't have to earn our joy. We're allowed to be joyful now. We're allowed to feel free now. We're allowed to go after what we want now. You've paid your dues already. So you don't need to suffer to prove that you deserved it. The struggle is optional. We get to opt out, we get to decide something different, and we get to try for something different now. And if you are ready to stop signing up for suffering, if you are ready to get out of your head and into aligned action, I invite you to work with me either in Purpose-Driven Powerhouse with the VIP option or in the Decide to Succeed program. But you can explore your options at the link in my bio or go to dreamleaplive.com/courses. That is basically all that I had to say. But I'm curious about what questions you may have as far as my thought process or hashtag goals. Let me know what's coming up for you. Woo. I'm drinking my fire tea and it's a little spicy, but I'm here for it. In your Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, do you talk about strategies to address self-doubt? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have an entire module about the difference between your intuition and your inner critic. I have a module about replacing your self-limiting beliefs with beliefs that propel you forward, and how to get out of Superwoman syndrome and trying to be perfect or everything to everyone so that you can be who you're supposed to be. So at least 3 modules go very deep in detail on that. Like what to do when you're getting into that comparison headspace. Absolutely. Purpose-Driven Powerhouse definitely goes very deeply into resisting the urge to compare yourself so you can focus on who you need to be and how you want to show up. So there's a lot of, this is basically a breakdown of all the mindset work that I wish I had known before I started my business. So when I was in a time where I was feeling inadequate and I knew I had something to offer, but I wasn't sure how to put it out there, I was feeling the urge to show up like other experts I was seeing. I was feeling the urge to compare myself to people that I thought were further along. And so this breaks down a lot of the things that I had to lean on, the concepts, the principles, the tools, the resources that I had to lean on to trust myself to take this leap. That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. And thank you for the heart showers. I so appreciate you. I know I was talking definitely about Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, but I know we do even deeper work in my 90-day program, which is private coaching, my highest level of insight and support. We spend an entire month essentially talking about how to own the unique value that you bring to the world and resist the urge to compare that to other people, so that you're no longer questioning whether you deserve the life that you want, whether you're no longer questioning whether you're qualified for your calling. You're just showing up and doing that because you're owning your gifts and owning what makes you you and leading with that. So if you want to focus solely on that, I do think that perhaps the 90-day Decide to Succeed program would be more powerful for you. If we don't have questions, I would love to know what is something that came up for you as you were listening to me talk about hashtag goals and what that means. What thoughts do you have? What hit you like a bag of bricks? What have been your insights or aha moments? And Tamara, did I answer your question? Do you feel complete with my answer, or did you want a little more? Yes. The emphatic yes. Yes. Caps lock and an exclamation mark. A win. Especially, I love that you talk about intuition versus inner critic. That's been a tough journey for me in the past. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. When you were saying not to let other people's success stop you from trying to get to their level or higher, I felt that. Yeah. A very powerful reframe for me was when I stopped looking at other people's success as a sign that I failed and start looking at it as a sign that what I want is possible. So I would say, that's possible for me too. Thank you, God. That's possible for me too. Thank you, God. That's possible for me too. Because it's so easy to take other people's success as a threat. Like, she won, that means I lose. But this is not, remember, we're taking on abundance mentality. That's another thing we talk about a lot in Purpose-Driven Powerhouse. We are building an abundance mentality. We can all win. Someone else's success does not mean that I'm failing. It simply means that if I pay close enough attention, that success will leave clues and I can have access to it as well. How do you prevent yourself from playing the comparison game, especially if you're surrounded by successful people? You remind yourself that someone else's success will leave clues and that it shows you that it's possible for you too. You cannot see or admire something in someone else if it's not laying dormant somewhere within you. So it is your job to either spend time around people that force you to step up your shit, or to go ahead and start channeling whatever skills you already have access to that could bring you closer. I really believe that we have so much more access to resources than we think we do. And we often make it a lot harder to get what we want by creating stories in our minds. So if we learn to just flip those stories, we can train our brains to make success safe. If you stop telling yourself that success is something only those people have, you can start paying close attention to how did they create that and what can I tap into within myself to create that for me. Right? It's not a threat to me that this person is winning. It shows me that I too can win. I understand that as human beings, if we see other people, of course, our first instinct is to compare to other people. But why obsess over someone when you can study under them? Jealousy is a hell of a teacher. If you're jealous of them, think about what they're giving themselves permission to do that you haven't given yourself permission to do yet. Did that answer your question, Kareem? Thank you for the heart showers. Thank you, thank you. Yay! Mommy, you said, ooh, come on, heart showers. Come on. Yes. Mommy, you said, ooh, I'm going to need you to explain that reaction. Finger snaps. Shut up. Yeah. Give yourself. I think jealousy is a hell of a teacher. If I find myself feeling jealous of what someone else has created, I have to stop and say, she's given herself permission to do something that I haven't yet granted myself the permission to do. So where can I start giving myself permission? Where do you need to start giving yourself permission? Because jealousy is a natural emotion, but it's also a waste of time and energy. If you really paid attention to what was underneath that, it's they have something that you would like. Congratulations, you're now getting clearer on what your true north is. Congratulations, you now have a better idea of what direction you want to go in. And now you can start reverse engineering. Jealousy doesn't mean you failed. It means finally you're starting to map out your road to success. This fire tea is giving me life. Comment if you have your own fire tea, or if you've ever drunk fire tea before. I realize it has different names for different people. You may call it a fire tea. You may call it an ACV tonic. You may call it a fire cider. But mine is hot water, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, ginger honey, cayenne pepper, cinnamon, and ginger. Not fire tea? Yes. It is a beautiful tonic. I love to drink it. I don't get to drink it every day, but I like to drink it. It's an energizer. It is great for building your immune system, for like minimizing inflammation, for adding a little bit of glow to the skin, baby. Yes. That sting, yes. I love it. It is very helpful. If you feel yourself coming down with a little bit of a cold, baby, make yourself a little fire tea, and whatever you thought was stuffed up is going to be gone. I like to drink it most of the time anyway as a preventative measure. It just makes me feel better, and I also feel like a badass because I'm drinking fire tea. Tamara, I'm using the ginger honey that you got for me. So thank you for that. That was a little, that's free game. Let's get back to the topic. What questions do we have about hashtag goals, hero worship, or anything else I was talking about? I also have the water, the big ass Baltimore Orioles cup of water. Because, your girl got to stay hydrated. I can't be stuck inside and thirsty. It's not a good look for anybody. So. Cream, you already know. This inside most of the time thing is not my ministry, but I'm making it work. I'm doing what I can. Do me a favor, if you got any value at all from tonight's live, please share this with someone you know needs it. If you want to take what you've seen here further, I want you to go to dreamleaplive.com to check out either the training bundle or the 90-day program with me. You said I certainly am. Ooh, I certainly am what? I certainly am what? I don't know what happened. I just posted the website that you can go to check out the offerings. If you are not ready to do private coaching, and if you are not ready to invest in the training bundle, I do offer some worksheets to get you started. But every worksheet that is on the website is included in Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, so you might as well take advantage of that opportunity. Oh, about making it work. Yes. Thank you. Mommy. The eyes. Yes. Trying to make it work. I'm doing what I can. Staring out the window to get my sunshine. Got a little bit of a sneak mini break this weekend. Going to the beach. But it's just not the same when the whole time you're looking over your shoulder like, ooh, that bitch too close. I don't know. Do I need to pull my mask back on? Like, what's, it's a little nerve-wracking. Does anyone know how to pin comments? I want to make sure that I can pin the dreamleaplive.com. I don't know how to do that yet. I'm certain that it's easier than I'm making it. See, this is an example of making shit harder than it needs to be. I don't know. Anyway. All right, it is 6:36, and I do like to keep these lives going until 7. But I also have a reverence and respect for time, and a reverence for when things have reached the end naturally. So I don't want to drag this out. If you have no more questions, I'm going to give it another minute. And if we have reached our natural ending place, then I thank you for your time, and I thank you for showing up and listening to me ramble and rant about #goals. If you do have questions, now would be a great time to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Oh, hey, Jenny. Hey, boo. You know I don't play about time, so. Oh, no worries, boo. No worries, no worries. I'm happy to see you here. Thank you for joining. I'm talking about or I was talking about #goals and the culture of hero worship on social media and how that may be keeping us stuck. I mentioned a little bit that there is a thin line between inspiration and intimidation. And so we have to be very careful about excessive admiration of other people and trust that we are the expert of our own experience and we get to determine what matters most and what we want to prioritize. So that's wrapped up real cute. Yeah, that's me paraphrasing, definitely. I also mentioned that I talk a lot about comparisonitis, fear of missing out, not knowing the difference between intuition and inner critic, and how all of those things tie into intimidating ourselves out of getting what we want. I talked about how all those things are covered in Purpose-Driven Powerhouse. So if you are interested in learning all the mindset work that I did to give myself permission to rewrite the rules for my life, then you can enroll at the link in the bio, or you can go to dreamleaplive.com. Okay. I see no one else has any questions. Thank you for your time. Thank you in advance for sharing this with someone who needs it. Thank you in advance for heading over to dreamleaplive.com. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week on purpose. And I'm going to talk to you later. Okay? Bye.